I'm Kemi Fraser, and I went to Dalhousie University. I studied in kinesiology and focused in ergonomics. And then later on, I even dug deeper and focused on office ergonomics. So here we are. And what you came for today is learning about how to set yourself up for success. So what you'll learn what an optimal setup looks like, the importance of movement and breaks, and strategies to optimize your setup with what you have at home. So low cost, high impact, because we all know that we don't know how long you'll be staying and working from home. So as long as you can set yourself up for success for now, and hopefully be back at work soon. Okay, so the next page over here. So this looks like a lot of information, but I'll walk you through it. So this is what an optimal setup looks like. I'm gonna start from the monitor height and then go all the way down to the floor. So what you want is your monitor to be slightly lower than your resting eye height. So when you're sitting all nice and straight, you want your monitor, the top of your monitor, to hit that point. You guys don't have any bifocal glasses, do you?
No.
No? Okay, perfect. So if you do have glasses, bifocal glasses, you just want your monitor to be a little bit lower and inclined a lot towards you, so you'll be able to see a lot better and you won't have strain on your eyes. You see the little hand reaching out for the screen. You want your monitor to be arm's length away from you, and that's a good distance away. So it's not too far and it's not too close either. If you have a hard time reading the screen, there's also options to make the fonts and writing a lot bigger on your screen too. So you can play with that a little bit. Next thing about monitors and home is you can switch places when you're working from home, right? And on a bright sunny day, it's lovely to be close to the sun, but that can also put glare onto your screen. So one way to figure out if there is glare on your screen or if your eyes are strained because of the glare, you can just put your hand right above your eyes and look out like you're looking for something. And if that alleviates any pain or any discomfort in your eyes, then that's a good indicator that glare is actually a factor for you. What you can do is you can, if you have blinds, just shut the blinds off, and or you can move your computer. You can also put an anti-glare on your monitor, and that'll also help a lot. Moving down to your work surface. So your work surface is your keyboard and mouse and notepad. If you're using a notepad, it's not actually the desk surface. So you want that surface to be a little bit lower than your resting elbow height. That way you can relax your shoulders and not have your shoulders all the way up to your ears, having stress on that. And you don't want it a lot lower. That way you're going to be hunched over your keyboard to try to sink down to it. Another thing about your work surface is if you click a lot for your job, so if you use your mouse a lot, you don't want your hand to be super far away from you, so a lot to the right if you're right-handed and a lot to the left. So the best thing for you would be to get a compact keyboard, which is your laptop, which looks like your laptop keyboard, to bring your hand closer to your workspace. And moving back to the elbow height, if your chair does have an armrest, you want your armrest to be at like just for comfort level. So you already have your elbow height figured out, and just bring it to that elbow height. You don't want it too high because again, your shoulders can be all the way up to your ears. And if it's too low, then you're just not using it, right? Also for the chair, you want to utilize the back of your chair because that's what it's there for. It's there for support. So to take off some of the pressure on your back, so you can just lean back and take full advantage of that. It's actually better for you to be in a reclined position than leaning forward, because when you lean forward, you get a lot more stress than if you just lean back. And then your seat pan cushion. So usually that one's, you can tell if it's comfortable or not, your chair. So you want to have at least a good cushion so you can sit there for a little bit longer. And you don't want it to be touching the back of your knee, because if it touches the back of your knee, then that'll create a contact stress and it'll make you feel uncomfortable behind the knee. And if you're working a lot, then that can evolve into something more. So the rule of thumb for that one is just to put 2 to 3 fingers between your seat pan and the back of your knee, and you should be golden. You don't want more than that, because then your thighs aren't even supported by the chair. So you really want that nice, good balance between those two. And I know it's hard, but try to keep your feet on the ground. Don't try to crisscross your legs, or if you do crisscross your legs, just don't stay there for a long period of time, because resting your feet is the best way to do it. If you have a footrest, you can also do that. That's no problem. And then you might also ask about standing. So standing, it's the same setup. I would suggest just anti-mat so your feet don't get tired too much and that there's less pressure on them. Any questions on this one? That's a lot of information just for one. No?
No.
You're good to go?
Good to go.
Perfect. So, what is better for you, standing or sitting? I'm asking you guys the question.
Oh,
what do you think?
sitting?
Sitting? Towards, which one do you think is better? If he's listening, he muted himself, so I don't know if he's still there. Combo. There you go. Bingo. You have it. A combo is the best way to do it, because you don't want to stay in the same position for a long period of time. Even with the whole standing desk fiasco, people are like, oh, sitting is so much better than sitting. But the actual truth is that sitting and standing are, when you alternate between the two, is a lot better than one or the other, because you don't want to stay in the same position for too long. Okay, so I know that most of you have a laptop for work when you work from home. And there's a lot of bad postures that are associated with laptops because they're not made for long-term use. So if you see in these two pictures, the people are hunched over their laptop, they're looking down, they have their arms are tucked in, trying to click on the mouse pad that's putting their forearms in uncomfortable positions. But there's an easy solution to keeping your laptop and working from home. If you do have a mouse or a keyboard, external mouse or external keyboard, if you add that to the mix, it'll help a lot with having a better position to work in. So what you want to do is you can use books or a laptop riser to rise the screen to that perfect eye level. And then having that, you need to have that external keyboard so your arms aren't in that super high, and then you have your wrists extended like this, because you won't be able to type like that for long. So if you have that keyboard that you can set at your resting elbow height, that is perfect. Yeah, so a couple books to just rise it up, and then an external mouse and a keyboard will greatly help your setup and make it even more ergonomic. If you don't have an external keyboard or mouse yet, you can also, if you know that you're going to be reading a lot more, so if you have a lot of emails to read, just prop up your laptop and then read it like that. But if you are typing a lot of emails or having a lot of things to type, then you can bring your laptop back down. So that's a way to kind of go around not having any tools with you. Okay, so why is movement so important? That's a question for you two.
So that your muscles aren't stiff.
Yeah.
And you get sore and your neck and everything starts hurting.
Yeah. So staying in the same position for a long period of time is not great you'll get a lot more discomfort, but the most important one is that you'll be less productive. So that's usually not something that people know, but it's really interesting. There's some research that came out that said the more breaks you take, so they had people sitting and not taking any breaks or moving at all during their workday, and they had another group that every hour they took 5 minutes and walked around for their break, and they found that there was a 10% increase in productivity. So it's not that much, but it's still counterintuitive to think that when you take a break, you're actually being more productive, which is really interesting findings. So now that we know that breaks are good for you, how do you take breaks when you're at home? So do what's right for you. I mentioned the 5 minutes every hour, but that sometimes just doesn't work for everyone. Um, Usually if there's a strict guideline and you're just starting out, you might just beat yourself up if you can't take that break at that exact hour, and then you start saying, oh, I'll just take 10 minutes at every 2 hours instead, and then it's kind of a snowball effect. So just start slowly. You can start by writing on a piece of paper every time you think would be a good time to take a break while you're at work, while you're doing your work. And then the next day you can start implementing those. So every time you're done writing a certain email or something like that, if it's been an hour, then go ahead and take your break. Or it varies throughout the jobs, but you get the gist of it. And yeah, do move. Do take a little walk, or go to the fridge, get some water, or just find those little things, and don't get carried away. So don't turn on the TV and start an episode. That break will just last forever and ever, and it's not the best way to do it. So nice little quick breaks will help you boost your productivity. Okay, what is your biggest distractions? So what would you say is your biggest distraction at home for you?
TV.
TV? Yours is TV? Okay, puzzles. There you go. TV and puzzles. Well, mine is the dog. And how I cope with that one, I just make sure that she's nice and walked in the morning so she doesn't create too much chaos while I'm working throughout the day. I take her out for a break during lunchtime and after work. So that keeps me moving during my breaks at the same time. Now for TV, what would you say you could do to stop that distraction from happening?
Well, now I don't work in a room where there's a TV.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's a way to do it. So completely eliminate that distraction. And how about Torrance? How about the puzzles? Can you hide those away from you while you work? Let's see if the answer is yes. But yeah, so puzzles could be a good one. So they stimulate your brain, but it's good to keep them for later. And I know that puzzles sometimes are at your work desk because you use the kitchen table to do the puzzle. If you put just like a plank of wood or something over the puzzle, or some glass, then it'll stop you from using it because it's a little harder to access. Okay. Now you said that you don't work in a room with TV anymore. What would you say is the room with the most distractions in your house?
The living room, because that's where everyone is. Like my
Yeah,
whole family's home right now, so
the living room.
yeah.
And oh, the kitchen. So there you go. So the kitchen has the most distractions for you, Torrance? Or is that the best place to do your work? I think it's the best place. Yeah, so if you want to avoid those high trafficked areas, just like you said, the whole family's home, that's the best way to do it. Or if it is a good spot to work, you can figure out what times they use the living room the most. So if you do like that spot, just trying to figure out and talk to your family, be like, okay, from this time to this time, I'll be working here, if you can work around it. Or you can find a lot of different rooms, because not everybody has home offices. Like at home, what I use is a kitchen counter. It's the optimal height for me for a standing desk. So I can utilize that to stand. And then when it's time to sit, then I just use the dining room table. So there's different ways to incorporate a standing and sitting position, even when you don't have a standing desk. So if you can just think about the different height and tables in your house, then you can make a lot of different places in your house an actual office, which is kind of cool. And if you need help with that, just feel free to ask me later. But yeah, I put garage in there because it was getting warmer, but if your garage is not heated, probably not the best idea to go in there now. Okay. So 3 tips that you can implement immediately. So I said type with kindness, which is kind of funny, but just don't try to type like you're typing on a typewriter, so very forcefully, because that won't help with repetitive strain injuries. So really, if you try to be gentle, that's the best work. And if you feel like you're typing a lot and your wrists or anything get tired, there's also some voice typing systems that you can use, like on your computer. They're already installed, or you can get better ones on the internet if you want. Click gently. That's also a good one. Or try switching hands. So if you want to test out your ambidextrosity, then you can, if you're right-handed, try clicking with your left hand. That is if your mouse is an ambidextrous mouse. So if you can use it for both hands. If you need help into knowing how to switch which one to click, then just let me know. And relax your shoulders. So it is a stressful time these days with a lot of uncertainty, but just remember to breathe and take a nice deep breath and relax those shoulders, because that's where we carry a lot of our stress. And a little extra tip for you. So 4th tip would be related to breaks. So it's said that for your eyes, especially if you work on your computer and are staring at a screen all day, then you want to look 20 feet away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes. And that'll help relieve some stress that you put on your eyes every day. So yeah. Any questions? Feel free to ask. No? No questions today?
He asked, do blue light glasses have any effect? That's a good question, because I use those
that's
too.
a good question. Yeah, so blue light glasses do help out. You just want to make sure that obviously you consult your eye doctor before you use them, but a lot of people are going towards that way of using those glasses, and they don't do any harm, so that's good. And yeah, so they do help relieve some stress from that. But if you don't want to pay that extra money for those glasses, then the 20-20-20 rule is a good one to follow. But yeah, the blue light glasses definitely help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have those?
I do. I have a cheap Amazon pair, but I think I do. It might just be a placebo, but I feel like I'm noticing a bit of a difference, especially when I'm like in a big Excel file all day and just